what are some things that most entrepreneurs and small businesses that may have been in business for a while don't think about that they could be considering?
Let's start with compensating the CEO. Believe it or not, have a lot of businesses, their perspective on compensation in their small business. Let me just pull what I need at the time.
Welcome back to another episode of Live the Grace Life. I'm your host, Corey Holman, and today I have an exciting guest for you today. I have my friend, Ms. Ava O'Neill Wilson. She's the CEO of O'Neill Consulting and Training Services and Wilson Touch Foundation. She's been in business over 24 years, so today I promise you this is going to add value to your life. So help me welcome Ms. Ava O'Neill.
Thank you, Corey.
My pleasure.
Oh, God, this is so exciting.
How you feel?
I'm wonderful.
Wonderful.
Wonderful. This is such a great opportunity. Thank you for this platform to share much needed information with our community.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So let me give some background. So me and Miss Ava have been working for a number of years now with
Yes, yes,
entrepreneurs, with marketing, with a
yes.
whole number of things. We've had an opportunity to partner and I work and teach some of her workshops
Yes,
with her.
yes,
And it's just phenomenal. She's even done some things at the hub too. And
yes.
so great partnership, great friend. And she's a part of
Mhm.
my tribe, y'all. You
Yes.
got to have a tribe. You got to
Oh, I
have
love that.
people
Yeah.
who you can, they encourage you, rub
Yes.
ideas off on. I think I talked to you about the hub
You
when I
did.
first started
Yes.
because I was trying to assess whether this is going to work or not. So
Yes.
thank you.
And it's working.
All right, so let's dive into you,
Yes.
right? What
Okay.
inspired you to
Yes.
launch your business, O'Neill Consulting and Training Services?
Wow. Well, for your viewers, I wrote some notes here. I may not need them, but there are a few things I want to make sure I share. But this starts in my childhood. So um, the inspiration came from two very important women in my family. So let's start with my birth
Okay.
mother.
All right.
So she passed away. I was 25. But I remember her going back to school beyond all the challenges she was facing and received her college degree from Albany State University at 43. Her inspiration was my aunt who owned Betty's Tax Service.
Oh,
And so
wow.
I had my opportunity to see a member of my family own their own business. And I remember being a teenager thinking, okay, well, she was doing my mom's taxes. I was like, I think I could possibly do that. So I remember it was so funny. They allowed me to do taxes, right? I did my mom's and my aunt's, and they was like, well, Ava, you're really good at this. I was like, really? I was 15, Corey. So I said, you know what? I'm going to go to college and get my bachelor's degree in accounting. So my senior year, I said, so I've been doing just a few tax returns, started 2001. I said, I think I could grow and expand this, right? And I saw she did very well. So my senior year, I started and launched on those consulting and training services. So now we're at year 24. So the inspiration really came from two women in my family. Again, my aunt who has passed away, but just watching her overcome her obstacles but make a key decision to be a business owner. And so from there, I think I can do this. So that was the inspiration. Yeah.
Your mom and your aunt.
My mom and my aunt.
Was
Yeah.
that tax business in Albany?
It was in Albany. As a matter of fact, when she transitioned, she was very intentional. Even before she passed, she transitioned her clients to me. Yes, and many of older generation, I love them to life. Let me tell you, they have been such a support to the business, and so yeah, so she transitioned that to me. Yes,
All right, so tell our viewers, what
yes,
exactly does your business do? How does it serve the
yes.
community?
Let's start with yes, we're talking about tax returns. So that was the foundation of the work. I realized in 2018, I'm so glad I did a couple of years before the pandemic that many of my clients, yes, we were handling their tax returns, but oftentimes once we received the documentation to do the return, it didn't quite align
Mhm. Understood.
to the tax return. And I realized there was a need for, yes, bookkeeping services. That's nothing new, but I wanted it to be a model where they can afford it. And so we started doing financial statements for clients. In addition to that, in 2018, yes, we want to do well by our clients, and we were processing their financial statements, but they couldn't understand them.
Mm,
They didn't
that's
know
real.
what their
That's real.
net worth was. They didn't know, wow, I should be cash flowing. Well, how do I do that with a small business? So we started teaching capacity building workshops in the areas of financial statements, understanding your tax returns. We partner with the city of Albany because that's where, of course, my initial office was, in the Micro Business Center building. So from there, we just continued, and we offer more services than that. I don't even know if I have enough time
Yeah,
to
you got
share.
plenty of time.
But the
Yeah. Yeah.
foundation, yes, financial statements. I also realized in 2023 there was a valuable solution. Again, not new, but it was customized to meet the needs of a lot of small businesses, nonprofits in our area. Is to provide what I call client support services. So this is it can be broken down into a full accounting solution, almost a finance department for an entity. When I started to look at the numbers and realize how scarce accountants were in our area and a lot of entities needed. I said, well, perhaps we can provide that solution with our team, of course, to handle their accounts payable, accounts receivable, the financial statements, and more. We're their full service accounting department, and that model worked very well. So that's I wouldn't say the final solution, but that's what we're offering new so far.
24 years in
Yes,
business.
yes.
That's an accomplishment.
It's like God be the glory.
Like 24 years is
Yeah,
phenomenal.
thank you.
And the impact that you're making is phenomenal too.
Yes, sir.
So let's think about this.
Yeah.
So you talked about your services, but
Mhm.
let's get into this capacity building. Like,
Yes.
what was the inspiration behind that? Like,
Mhm.
and you kind of share a little bit in that question there,
Mhm.
but tell me more about it. About what does that look like? And if I'm an entrepreneur starting
Yes.
off,
Mhm.
how do I get connected to what you're doing? Yeah,
Well, first, our website,
that's right. We'll put it on the screen.
www.consulting.com. Let's talk about how that started.
Okay.
Really, I was listening to the needs of my clients. I realized they were doing well in their business, but they didn't have advocates to help them work on their business. They didn't have that. Uh, and I'm talking, my clients range from a young woman who owned her janitorial services, which she was able to grow and hire more people, to, I would say, maybe larger companies per se, larger nonprofits that were managing a seven-figure budget. They just really didn't have the level of support needed to help them grow and scale. So I said, tell you what. So as I began to work with them, I realized perhaps if this client needed to know how to understand their financial statements, how about we have a class for about 2 hours? And let's just walk through those
Mm.
steps. So that was probably class one. I've been doing that for quite some time. And of course, it expanded to, okay, well, they understand now their financials, but here's one of the barriers that we often see is funding. And so, in one of my classes, I talk about we have non-negotiables. One of the first non-negotiable is you have to have financial statements. So again, we teach that. The second is you're going to have access to funding. Is funding out there? Yes. You interview one of not only our partners, but one of my mentors, Dr. Thelma Johnson,
Absolutely.
Albany Community Together. And there's so many other partners, but oftentimes we, as business owners, may not qualify for those resources because we didn't have anyone to share with us in a capacity building workshop that didn't make us feel guilty for
Mhm.
not knowing
That's true.
the information,
That's true.
made us feel comfortable and safe to be vulnerable to say, yes, I do need help.
Yeah.
So we created content to meet those specific needs, and it just grew. So people say, well, hold on, Ava. So you taught me how to do my
Come on
financials.
now.
I now have access to funding. I have no way to market it. That's okay. I know the perfect person. I'll reach out to Corey, Grace Life Marketing, to come and share all things marketing. Okay, hold on, Ava. There's some resources out there in the form of grants, right? No, so we don't write grants because I was asked that all the time. But perhaps we can, create a 4-hour class to teach you how to write your own. So really, all of the content building came from just hearing the needs of the clients. What would make them successful and grow. When my clients grow, we are growing the community. Why? And then we'll go to the next question. They're able to pay a livable wage to our community, and not just those that, are the population would say, "Okay, well, age, let's say 25 to, this age would need to have a job." I'm talking about providing internships for students. I partner with Albany State University, and I started 3 years ago with their accounting department. So excited. Let me tell you, I've worked with some of the best students they
Absolutely.
have to offer. I'm an alumni as well as well. Also with Dougherty County School System, with 4C Academy, those seniors are phenomenal. So my point is, all of our entrepreneurs, we're in a great position to provide a livable wage for our community to uplift each other together.
So that's
Yeah.
what Miss Ava is doing, and one of the reasons I want to highlight what she's doing. I've seen the
Yeah.
impact with my own eyes, and one of the things that I tell you all when I bring people in as guests, every guest at some point I vet like they've been through a vetting process, right? Because I'm very I want
Mhm.
to make sure I'm providing value,
Yes.
right? And so Miss Ava is providing value on a daily basis with her workshops, with her capacity building, and the number of
Yes.
things because she's in a lot of community things,
Exactly.
events as well. But one of the things that I want to hone in on what you said,
Mhm.
and a key for entrepreneurs, she listened to the needs of her
Yes.
clients,
Yes.
right? Any product, any business that you're trying to start, you have to think about the needs of the people you're serving. That's
Absolutely.
the you got to be able to solve problems for
Yes.
people.
Yes.
Now, I want to ask you a question and I want you to kind of think back, right? It's
Okay.
24 years of business. That is a
Yeah.
phenomenal achievement.
Yes.
Think about some of the challenges that you've had to overcome
Mhm.
and tell our audience how you overcame them.
Let's start with fear, right? I'm a woman of faith. And yes,
Absolutely.
I know the scripture says he didn't give me that spirit. He gave me power, love, and a sound mind. But let's just be
Mhm.
honest. Let's be frank, folks. Oftentimes, when you're launching your vision or something you want to birth, it is scary. We're just gonna be real, folks. It's scary. So that was the first thing. So to counter that, yes, obviously through prayer, but I had a mentor that was able to help to guide me along the way. So that's the first challenge I was able to overcome. Now let's talk practical. So I realized I didn't want to start my business being upside down. I see a lot of my clients, they would say, "Oh gosh, I have a vision. Let's go. Let's launch this." Well, slow down, slow down. Okay, so what's your plan? How are we going to fund the vision, right? Are you still going to keep your job? Or,
Mhm.
because I worked for, of the 24 years, 21 of those full time. So I worked to fund my business based on my full time job. So I didn't just launch out there and say, "Hey, I got a vision," because I knew I wanted to leave a legacy for my family and for others. So, um, I wanted to ensure that that challenge was addressed. Let's start out with the appropriate structure and funding. Thirdly, um, you know, let me be transparent. In 24 years, have I been successful with each client? No. Um, let's talk about growth
Come on,
pains.
come on, come on.
So let's be candid. There was a period of time, thank God for his blessings, I was growing faster than I could staff the business. Oh my God, I've given so many discounts to my local clients.
Mhm.
They know. It's like, okay, so this took a lot longer than it should have. So let me just be a blessing to you, right? Because I was thinking client first. So that was the last challenge. I really had to figure out a way. I could not continue being a one-man show, right? Serving hundreds of clients. A lot of people didn't know how big the business really was. So I said, okay, Ava, let's take a few steps back. How can we staff this? So in prayer, God gave me this vision to do profit sharing. I was like, oh my gosh. So let's take those that are working really hard currently. They have the expertise, the knowledge, and the experience and the education, and they can help you grow your business. So I'm so
That
excited.
profit sharing?
Profit sharing.
Okay.
So what I did, I was able to, again, assessing the needs of the client and ensuring that the contractors that I brought on board So let's see how can we profit share with this client. So through that model, I was able to bring on an accounting manager, a senior accountant, two senior accountants, and two interns. So I'm no longer this, mighty team of one. I have a phenomenal, God-fearing team of six now.
Oh,
So I am
wow.
so excited. So
Okay.
I would say those three challenges, that's what I face. And hopefully that will help someone in their
Absolutely.
journey.
That's really good. Like, I didn't know you
Mhm.
had 6 team
I have
members.
6 now.
Wow.
Yes. On the accounting side, we're not even talking about the capacity building, but just on the accounting side.
So, one thing I'll say about Miss Ava, you can tell she's very thorough, right?
Yes.
She's very thorough in how she builds.
Yes.
Even in the simple fact that she waited 21 years
Yes.
to fully launch full time into her business. Like,
Yes.
she made sure it was correct. And I'm gonna be real with you. I work with Miss Ava. She's very thorough, and that's a beautiful thing because
Yeah.
some of us are not as gifted in
Wow.
that area. But you want someone that's thorough when it comes to your money,
You're
when it
right.
comes to accounting, when it comes to organization. I'm just being real. I don't want somebody managing my money that they can't even remember where they put, those such simple
Yeah.
things.
Yeah.
So you're very thorough, and
Mhm.
that's a attribute that is so key to what you do.
Yes.
There was one thing that you had said I wanted to mention
Yeah.
about. So we were talking about the scaling aspect, how
Yes.
when it was just you, right, and you were moving into a space where you're like, okay, how hard was that for you letting go?
I love that question. It was very hard because going back to excellence and keep in mind, I had mentors in my life. I'll talk later about my spiritual mother, Dr. Gwendolyn Hope, and more. Even my current leader, Bishop Victor Powell, my husband. Excellence is the standard. And excellence is not, I just heard, I went to ASU's graduation and something that the co founder shared, it's not a moment. It's not a one time. It's a lifestyle. So in every area we're trying to exude excellence, right? Because we have to be one person. So going back to your original question, it was challenging because I knew what I wanted my clients to have. I put myself in my client's shoes to say, okay, I want to be able to pick up the phone or text my accountant because I get text messages all the time to say, hey, I need this or I need that. And yes, it was wearing my body out.
I know.
I'm not 20 anymore. So imagine me just running, just because I'm just trying to make sure they get that feeling that somebody actually cares about what's going on in my life. They care about my financials. They know that I have to make this business work because this is feeding my family. So my point is, I knew I had to get people, uh, team members, to adopt not only the same philosophy, but they had personal excellence in their life. So yes, I pray.
Mhm, mhm,
And
mhm.
God started to send the people. And here's the practical side. I had to train them. So if I want to replicate myself, okay, Ava, just train. I can't have an expectation of my team for something that I did not provide them with the resources to grow and to build. So for each team of either interns that I get, I train them. I train them exactly what I expect and also provide the support. And then they're at the place where they can do this independently. And I no longer have to be the person to answer all the questions.
Mhm, mhm.
I no longer have to be the bottleneck
Yeah.
here for our customers. So they work with the customers themselves. They develop their own relationships. And again, because we all have the same view and you treat them well, it works.
Wow. So, and that aspect of when you're going through that journey,
Mm.
it can be very difficult, right?
Yes.
And for those entrepreneurs that are one man show and you're watching this and you're trying
Yeah.
to overcome that hump,
Yeah.
we all go through that process, right? And here's the thing: is learning to let go so that you can grow, right?
Yes.
And
Yes.
and so Miss Ava has, I didn't know she had 6 team members, y'all. So I'm inspired even
Yeah.
more because I've been watching her journey and you inspire me so much. You really, really
Thanks.
do. And seeing how God has expanded your business. She has some things that she'll talk about towards the
Mhm.
end, but it's like it's amazing to see that, right? And then there's an aspect of faith
Yeah.
that she integrates into her business. She
Yes.
understands that this business is not our own.
No, it's not.
Like, and you gonna need God for 24 years. Let's just go be honest. You gonna need some God in your life for 24 years of business because I'm only 7 years and I'm tired. I'd be like, okay, Lord. Um, so let's
Yeah.
go into the next question.
Yeah.
You have been working on a new aspect of your business,
Mhm.
and this has to go into workforce development,
Yes.
your programming, and so tell us about that and what needs does
Yes.
it address?
Yes. This also came from listening to my clients. Many of them, they always had the question, okay, Ava, well, thank you so much, but who can I hire to do this? You're telling me to grow my team. So, who can I hire to do this? And I realized, wow, our workforce, especially those that are in high school or they're still matriculating their way through college or recent college grads, which is where our workforce is going,
It is, yeah.
they have a skill level many of us don't have in the areas of technology, and I'm fascinated in watching my team members work. Here's what I realized is a few things that if we can polish this,
Go ahead. Go ahead.
you'll be more marketable in the workforce. Number one, it seems like it's simple, but customer service. So thank you, Corey, for partnering with us
My
as we're going
pleasure.
to continue providing courses as a part of workforce development because with Grace Life Marketing, O'Neill's Consulting and Training Services, when the viewers, when their customers have to work with, engage with their clientele, with their employees, excuse me, have to work with their customers, you need them to represent you at all times. So what does that look like? So that's a skill set we're working on, having the customer service component. The next component I realize, again, with that age range in workforce, they do lack emotional intelligence. That's why oftentimes it's easier to just hire someone older than to have someone younger who may even be more skilled.
Mhm.
Because now, when it's time to handle complaints, when it's time to engage the client or customer, and you need to keep them if there's a challenge that came up, you need someone on your team that's emotionally intelligent enough to engage that customer, that client. To not only retain, because again, that one bad experience, that's all they need, right?
It's all they
And
need.
so that's another class that we teach is a five-part component to workforce development, emotion intelligent workforce. Another area that I thought was so key, professional etiquette and communication in the workforce and in the workplace. We're also going to teach interview skills. I think I have all five. I'll check my phone if I don't, but it's just a five-part program to just building that capacity, and then the next part is working with entities to place them in employment. So when my accounting client came and said, "Hey, Ava, I need someone to work as an office manager," and I've placed many people just out of the kindness of my heart, but I want to make sure they're well equipped before we place them. And again, to elevate our workforce. So I hope I answered
You
that question.
did. No, this
Yes.
is good. And
Yeah.
and so one of the things that while you were describing the program,
Yes.
what I see like her business, I mean her business does a lot of things, but
Mm.
this is kind of the internal working of your business, like the
Yes.
parts that if you are a one man show and you are not gifted in this area, this
Yes.
where she comes in, right? So there are
Yes.
many aspects of your business, whether it's financing, whether it's marketing,
Yes.
but this is a part of growing your business. This is the
Yes.
scaling part
Yes.
where you are having to multiply yourself,
Yes.
but making sure your team is being properly developed.
Yes.
So you when you talked about customer service, we all have had an experience.
Yes.
I'm sure you could probably think of many different experiences where we've come went to a restaurant or went to a drive-through and
Yeah.
it just was not the best experience.
Yes.
Or even the simple fact of emotional intelligence. Sometimes people that goes over their head, like what is emotional intelligence? But
Yeah.
her husband,
Yes.
Pastor David Wilson, teaches that class. And
Yes.
did he write a book on that, or is it more just
Y
kind of
yes, actually, he is a coach,
okay?
and there are several of his books that he has written about emotional intelligence. Absolutely.
So and he delivers such
Yes.
a profound in a profound way
Yes.
how emotional intelligence affects the workforce.
Yes.
And so I'm saying all this to say if you don't already have your team members going through these
Yes.
workshops, going
Yes.
through maybe one day she'll do a course, I don't know. But she does it on like
Yeah.
a weekend, that type of thing. But you
Yes.
bring your team members
Yes.
and get them involved and then grow, because if you are growing your team members, your
Yes.
business will grow too.
That is the foundation. And guess what, Corey?
Yes, ma'am.
Those classes we're offering through the nonprofit, the Wilson Touch Foundation, are at no cost.
So you can't
Yes,
beat that.
they're sponsored,
Yeah.
but they're at no cost to the end users. So I encourage small business, especially small business owners, please, please register on our website. We'll have that information provided. I know Corey will, to ensure that your team, their capacity to grow your company, they'll have these resources is at no cost to you.
All these are really good things. And
Yeah.
so one of the things I want you to think about is,
Yes.
now 24 years of business, what's
Yes.
a success story that you can
Yes.
think of that just impacted you in a way that's just like, this is worth it?
I have a lot of them.
I'm sure
I tried to
you can share a
think.
few. We got
Yes.
time.
I let me start with this one. I received a call from a lending institution. Ava, we need you to provide technical assistance, work with this particular client who actually is a major business in our community, hires around 25 people, right? They need to reorganize their debt or they may have to close the doors. I said, wow. So it was a challenge. But certainly we're up for it. I remember the initial review of the financials and speaking with their leadership team. They did not realize, I think they were losing over 20,000 a month. Here's the unfortunate part. They didn't know that because they were so busy working in this new business that supports, and it's one of the hubs of our community. They didn't see their financials on a monthly basis, right? So they just kind of provided some data to um, their firm. And of course, their financials and the tax returns were completed, but they had no idea. They had not seen their numbers. And so when I completed the analysis and they realized, it was like, well, it was like, well, what could we do? Why didn't we know this? So working with the lender to number one, just re strategize their expenditures, but most importantly, making sure those families did not lose their jobs. And we were finally successful, and they had it close to about 3,000,000 that they had to refinance. So that was, I have many success stories, but that was number 1. Why? We were able to take care of people. Number 2, we were able to help that organization reorganize their debt so they can better cash flow and they're still in business. And so even on a smaller scale, I remember, and this I'll just share this second one. I remember this entrepreneur had this dream to open a specific center, and they had about 22 employees as well. So they were doing wonderful. Matter of fact, the owner, I won't forget when we finished the financials, I was like, so we're earning $1,000,000. Yeah, you're a millionaire. You didn't know it, did you? Because they're working so hard, right? So yeah, you're already a millionaire. You have 1.7 million in a year's time. And oftentimes our business owners, they don't really see, well, where is it going, Ava? So we were able to have those discussions of this is where it's going, how we can ensure. I have a CEO Success Summit, another one coming up in 2026, but this is how you can benefit your family as well. So we were able to finish their financials, provide documentation. Now they have 2 additional centers. So this is the impact in the community. So you started out with a staff of 22. Now you're able to provide employment, I think, for another 20 per center. So those are, I have so many success
Wow.
stories. And again, these are collaborative efforts through working with a lender as well as the business owner.
So what's one common misconception that you think people
Mhm.
have towards accounting, their finances? Like,
Oh,
tell me, I know you see it all the time. Like,
yeah. I'm so glad you asked that. They don't think they need it. So I would have business owners. It's time to do the tax return. I have one now. And it's like, hey, Ava, I can just get you the spreadsheet. I know what I brought in. Sure. So do you have a balance sheet? What's that? Okay. So, do you have accounting software, QuickBooks to start, FreshBooks? I think there are a few others that are at no cost. Well, so do you have software that's handling your transactions? I don't need that, Ava. I can't afford that. You can't afford not to have accounting. And so that's the major misconception to grow. So for my business owners, that's a non-negotiable. I pass along to them even a discount of QuickBooks. Hey, if you're not at the place where you're ready to retain us to do the work for you, let's at least start somewhere. Hey, come to one of the workshops. We can actually kind of guide you through taking care of it yourself. I just need you to have an income statement, a balance sheet, and a statement of cash flows. You won't be able to go to any lender, whether it's your Albany Community Together or Momentous Capital, who they work with, AT&T, my great friend Terry over there, Ameris Bank, Miss Jennifer Wilson. There's so many, right? You can't go to them without the documentation, right? And a lot of my business owners say, "Well, Ava, I don't want a loan." I get it. Hey, start your business like that, like I did with cash. But do you wanna take all of your cash to pay 700 or $800,000 for a building,
Mm.
right? So you potentially will need some funding if you want to grow. So the biggest misconception, you need financial statements, you have to have your documentation in place. It's a non-negotiable.
Imagine turning your business into a brand people can't stop talking about. Marketing that matters. The Entrepreneur's Guide to Growth and Success by Corey Holman. It's your blueprint for building unstoppable momentum. This book is packed with innovative ideas, action steps, and game-changing insights that you can use right now. Are you ready to disrupt your industry? Don't wait. Grab your copy now on Amazon and start dominating your market today.
That's good. You got to know where your numbers are, right?
Yes.
Where is your cash flow? Where are your expenses going?
Yeah.
And so I think, what Miss Ava's doing is such a needed service. It is. And your business needs to connect with her because you got to know where your money's going. And one of the things that I mentioned in another podcast
Yeah.
was I realized how much of my expenses were going to software,
Mhm.
to subscriptions, and how much that was like monthly. And
Yeah.
when I looked at the numbers and I saw how much we were spending monthly
Mhm.
on just subscriptions, I was baffled. And so now I'm looking, and I did it as I entered in 2025.
Yeah.
I was looking to see, okay, well, what don't I need? Like what?
That's
Because
good.
some of the apps
Yeah.
may be just duplications of the same things.
Right.
And so that's what we did. I started assessing, okay, let's get rid of this, let's get rid of that. And then I can increase my
Mhm.
revenue,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Because you want to be able to look at, and this is her aspect, but here's the thing: as a business owner, the idea of what I'm saying is you have to know where your money is going,
Yes.
because you'll be thinking just like that client said, they were
Yeah.
making $1 million, and you're like, man, where is the money going?
Yes.
But you're not watching where your dollars go.
Yes.
And I'm gonna be honest with you, Miss Ava. Finances
Yeah.
and in terms of accounting is not my strongest suit.
And marketing's not mine. I have you for that.
It's never been. And I had to
Yeah.
learn and overcome, because, and I'm sharing this because, when you're sitting in front of a lender, you're sitting in front of a bank, and they're asking you these questions,
Mhm.
and you're already kind of lacking the confidence because you're needing
Yeah.
to ask them something,
Yeah.
and you're walking in like, well, maybe I don't have what I need, or maybe I'm not generating enough revenue,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And I've had those moments where I've walked into a bank,
Mhm.
and this was like, I think this is year 2 or year 3,
Mhm.
and I walked out so discouraged because I felt like I
Wow.
was so behind,
Wow.
right?
Yeah.
And so, and you go through the learning curve, you go and you're like, okay, well, next time I'll be better.
Yeah.
I'll make sure I have this. And so I'm sharing that to say in my own story is that you need a Miss Ava, you need an O'Neill team, because they can help you before you even have those
Oh,
conversations.
that's good.
And then in addition, send you to the right people.
Yes.
Like we had Dr. Thelma, Albany Community Together,
Yes.
and so those, you learn what your options are with what
Yes.
you have.
I love that you said that. I had a client last week in a meeting, and she was so nervous. She's starting from scratch. Beautiful home base, it's home healthcare business, and she just has a heart for people. So I'm so excited. I think she has a team of 5 now or so. I was like, "Oh my God, I'm so excited." But that was her very thing. She said, "Miss Ava, I'm nervous. What if I fail? What if this doesn't go through? I can't talk to them. I don't know." I said, No, 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 no. You have support. You have people. We just have to partner to make sure with work that you're doing as well with entrepreneurs. We have to make sure they just know these resources are available to support them.
It is.
Yeah.
And there's so much more because Miss Ava she has a lot of collaborations in which she
Yes.
works with many different organizations.
That's where a lot of entrepreneurs quit. They throw in the towel because they're afraid, they're embarrassed. So I do say to my lending community and for those that partner with us in this work, we have to do a better job of making them feel a little bit more comfortable, and we have to praise them. I tell all of my clients, "Hey, congratulations on this start." You want to give them that emotional support that they need, right, to continue. We have to do that for them, not just provide a service, not just take care of their books and the accounting and their funding. We have to congratulate them
Be
and
their
provide them.
cheerleader.
Yes, so
Yeah.
they're not fearful, right? And they move forward, they achieve the dream that they set out to do, and they don't even realize if they just hire one person, they're starting to make a difference in our economy and in our community.
And then the thing is, in addition to that, now that y'all are learning about what Miss Ava do, I think
Yeah.
even the lending community just say, okay, let me connect you with a Miss Ava.
Yes.
So that it's not a no, it's just a maybe another time.
Yes.
Because then you'll be able to prepare and get your finances together,
Mhm.
all of those things to be able to assess, okay, when is the right time? Because
Yes.
you're always gonna have those moments. When is it time to get a building? When is it time to add a team member?
Right.
And I'm gonna be real with you. Now, everybody's journey is different.
Yeah.
I'm a person of faith. Miss Ava is a person of faith. Sometimes I'm gonna be honest with you. The numbers weren't numbering when it was time to expand.
I was in the same boat as well. You have to assess when it's time. I've had clients to kind of go out because they didn't take the time to really assess where they were, and no one was honest with them. There are times when I tell my clients, "Not right now," they joke. I say with loving kindness, according
It was
to
a smile for me, yo.
the word. It's like, "No, not right now." You know, and Miss Ava, no, you can't buy the building now. Why? Because I don't want you to default on the loan, and I want you to be successful. And for a few of my business owners, stay on your job.
Mhm.
I know you want to just say, "Oh no, I'll just don't do that." Not in this economy. That's all I'll say. So, not in this economy. Work your way until you have enough cash. And here's where, if my entrepreneurs are trying to measure, I know we're probably going to maybe
No,
another
you're good.
question on
Yeah.
this. How do I know it's time to, let go of full-time employment? And I tell my clients, when you're making enough in your business to support your salary, you can match or exceed the salary, then you're ready. Other than that, stay where you are, grow your business with your funds, and then move forward.
So good. And even looking at your revenue stream, and
Yes.
I think that's I was gonna say is making sure that because life happens.
Yes, it does.
Right?
Yes.
And many entrepreneurs have had
Mhm.
so many challenges
Yeah.
when it comes to business.
Yes.
In the simple fact that I've had a lot of learning curves, I've made a lot of mistakes. I've gotten funding that I should have probably got more than I thought.
Mhm.
Well, let me just get enough for this
That's
moment,
so good. Right. Right.
right? You have clients that do that, and then
Yes.
they need more down the
Yes.
road.
Yes.
I've had to learn all of those mistakes, and then now I'm at a point. Let me just say this, and you can chime in it whenever you want to.
Mhm.
It's the simple fact that when I started my business, it was debt free. I had no loans,
Yeah.
none of those things. It wasn't until I expanded into a larger building
Mhm.
that I got a loan,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And now I'm paying those loans.
Mhm. Mhm.
And so the thing about it is that now as you're assessing whether you're ready, do you want to take on that additional responsibility? Not
That's
just a building, the maintenance of the building, the
Yes.
loan,
Yes.
all of the challenges, I mean, that come when you need repairs. You have to
Mhm.
think about all those things and
Yes.
look at your numbers, get with Miss Ava because it can be
Yes.
challenging.
Yes. Something that you said, just as long as you have a partner that's working with you in this process, and there are entities that provide technical assistance. Yes, I'll push on those consulting and training services, but my clients, when they come to me, if there is a resource that they don't have to pay for, I believe in taking care of people with integrity. I'm going to point them to the resource first, right? So there are resources out there. Um, I think everyone doesn't have to get a business loan. Hey, I started mine debt free, right? No, I don't want debt, but I realized again, I didn't want to take close to $1 million in cash, right, and purchase a building, right? So you do have to just assess your numbers and see where you are. You have to ensure that you cash flow, right? In addition to that, even before my business owners start hiring staff, because that's another major cost. My husband says this, count the cost before you build, right? So if I'm going to hire staff, think of the structures, the um, pricing modules. Do I pay them hourly, contractually? How do I make this work? And please, business owners, I need you to take care of yourselves. So the class I'm going to do, I did CEO Success Summit this past summer, and I'm going to do it again the first Saturday in February. As a growing or emerging CEO, I realized, wow, my CEOs are not taking good care of themselves. What I mean, are they providing themselves with a salary? You know, I have several business owners who, "Oh, okay, well, I'll just take a draw every now and then." I just, no, no, don't do that because I can't write that off. It's just a draw. You're just taking money out your business.
That's
How
good.
about you utilize QuickBooks or another amount ADP or and I'm not a proponent of or giving these business kudos, but they're options. Let me say that. Set yourself up as a W-2 employee. Why? I'm not one of those. I don't benefit from tax refunds. I owe a lot in taxes, but that means the revenue's there, and I have the appropriate deductions. Here's my point in that. Go ahead and set yourself up as a W 2 employee and set aside a retirement fund. And there are different modules to that so that you can write off your investments to yourselves, right? So please set it. Don't work this hard. In 10 years from now, you can't look into your retirement account to say, this is what we've done. Don't be the business owner I had who was grossing 1.7 million and they were still netting around over half of that because they did very well, but they couldn't see it. So let's ensure that we set ourselves up as entrepreneurs to benefit from our businesses long term. And I have to add, let's leave a legacy for our family.
So since you open a door
Yeah.
and you're talking about deductions, what are some things
Yeah.
that people don't necessarily even think about? Like we know
That's a good
maybe
question.
the driving, the mileage, that type of thing,
Yeah.
but what are some things that most entrepreneurs and small businesses that may have been in business for a while don't think about that they could be
Yeah.
considering?
Let's start with compensating the CEO. Believe it or not, have a lot of businesses, their perspective on compensation in their small business. Let me just pull what I need at the time. So if I need groceries,
Hmm.
believe it or not, I've seen this. If I need expenses covered for the family, the kids, if I have a major personal expense, I'll just go and take it. Let's pause. How about let's again set yourself up as a W 2 employee. I want to stay on that. So now, if I'm an employee of my business, obviously I get to deduct the salary, right? Yes, it's reported back on the W 2, but I get to deduct my salary. So perhaps I can provide life insurance for myself, right? It's deductible. Whoa, health insurance. I can ensure that me and my family were covered. What are some other benefits? In other words, for my small business owner CEOs, think of every expense that was covered by your previous employer. Ensure that's in place for yourself. The 401k plan, that's one thing. I work with an Edward Jones. That's who is my advisor, and that's who has come to some of my classes. And I realize I work with Kimball. Go and give him a shout out there. When I work with Kimball, they're actually attending in our building. When I work with Kimball, he helped me realize, Ava, go ahead and set up yourself as a 401k, not just, one of the retirement plans where, you have the tax benefits on the front end. I was like, wow, so if I set this up right, and I know I gotta pay taxes anyway, but rather than paying $20,000, $30,000, how about I take that amount and if I do it before April 15th and I put that into a retirement account, I can not only deduct it, but it's gonna earn more money for me. So that's just a few strategies. There's so many
It
more they
is.
can
It
reach out
is.
to for that. But for my CEOs, please take good care of yourselves and your families.
So, since we're adding value and you just
Yeah.
dropped a lot of value nuggets there,
Mhm.
what percentage would
Mhm.
you say that a CEO should take out of their revenue to make sure that they're covering themselves, right?
Great question. I tell my clients, let's ensure that all of your expenditures are covered. Let's ensure that if you do have loans, you have the revenue and the cash to support the loan.
Okay.
Let's see what we have left. I can't say 5% when in fact our overhead may be a little high, so you may not need to take 5%. Maybe you should take 2. So it's based on, I would say, the net income of what's left over in the business. If I think we were gonna talk about customers and client pipelines, and let's ensure that we, work with the marketing team to grow our business, right? So that we can provide a higher percentage to ourselves. It's not set in stone. I couldn't set mine in stone. Now, I had to evaluate, okay, now what do I need to support the household,
Yeah.
right? My
Yeah.
husband's gonna take great care of us, right? Shout out, love. David Wilson, yeah. But what do I need to support the household? And I don't mind sharing this story, and this is personal, but I gotta share this. I didn't start out just like, "Oh my god," just bringing home this great salary, doing well. I had to start out very minimum, right? I didn't say, "Ava, you're gonna pay yourself this now." I didn't have that to pay it myself.
Mhm.
So I
Mhm.
started out small to cover expenses. I was able to grow as the business grows. So I wouldn't say a set percentage. Let's look at your net income and what your business can afford to pay you.
That's good because
Yeah.
I hear that question a lot, and it's
Mhm.
especially and that's another thing. That's another
Yeah.
jump. Like,
Yeah.
when is the right time to do that? Because you'll
Mhm.
see there are times in the business where, especially when you're starting off,
Yeah.
most of the income coming in is more for you to reinvest into your business.
Yes.
But as you're making more and you're having, a lot more income coming in,
Mhm.
and you may have like different responsibilities of a team,
Mhm.
software,
Mhm.
whatever those things are, because there are a
Mhm.
lot of them. I got so much. I don't even want to look at. I be looking at it like, Lord, I don't even look at this no more. But I'm good with it. I'm good with
Yes.
it. All right. So
Yes.
we have been going, and so I want to make sure I do cover.
Yes.
And I hope this has been providing
Yeah.
some added value to your business. Um, but how do you believe faith, purpose, and your personal conviction play a
Yeah.
role in the work you do?
You know, this business was started and launched from not only a prophetic word I received years ago, but in my prayer time, hearing the voice of God when to launch and when to go full time. Um, I'll share the story briefly. So I didn't just say, "Oh my God, I'm just going full time and I'm just going to do it." You know, I didn't do that. I knew early on from my spiritual mom, who was really like a surrogate after my natural mother passed away, Dr. Gwendolyn Hope. I was under her ministry and served for well over 20 years before I married my husband. Um, she had a saying, only what's done for Christ will last. So I knew even in business, I had to involve God. Scripture says, acknowledge him in all of that ways. I couldn't acknowledge him in my personal life. I couldn't acknowledge him in helping me to rear my son, right? And not acknowledge him in my business, right? Because I needed him to be the undercurrent when I'm discouraged, when I'm down, when I don't even know if this is going to work. I needed him to be the undercurrent of it. So I've actually just lived by that model since I've been in the faith, since about 19 years old. So the only what's done for Christ will last always was kind of like the forefront of my mind in every business decision. So let's circle back around to make the decision to go full time. So I did start earning my salary. And I had actually been doing that for a few years. I just worked like 16, 17 hours all the time. I would work full time, tenured Dougherty County School System Budget Grants Coordinator.
Oh, 16 hours a day?
Listen, and that was every day. We're not talking tax season. We're not talking weekends. My pastor, Bishop Victor Powell, was just talking about burning the midnight oil when you're really committed and dedicated to your vision. Faith without works is dead. Entrepreneurship, successful entrepreneurship is not for the weak. So if you're not committed to, what's a 5 o'clock? No, someone asked Abraham, what's a lunch break?
Listen.
I don't even know what that is. In 3 years, I don't take lunch breaks. I was like, what's a lunch break? It's like we work through. You're just eating. You keep
You just
going.
eat and go
Like, what's a lunch break?
while you work.
What's lunch hour? I was
Listen.
like, who asked that question? But again,
Real.
that's transitioning. So my point in all that is when I was doing one of my morning walks, I heard the Holy Spirit say so clearly, in 30 days, give a 30-day notice. I was like, a 30 days? I was like, wait a minute. So I'm walking. I was like, okay, God, let me make sure that's you. So I went back immediately in my prayer journal, I wrote it down, and I looked at the dates, and it was on February, I think, 15th. So I was like, wait, how many days? I was like, oh my God. So this is the date I would just provide to my employer that I'm going to go full time in business. I remember sharing the story. So they were trying to convince me, hold on, Ava, just stay a few more months. You'll be tenured and you'll get your retirement. That's not what God said. It's going to be, the date was March 31st. That was my last day. I gave them a 30-day notice. And even the person over the organization, you don't have to do that, Ava. Hey, we're family. I'm so glad I did. That's another podcast. but because I kept the relationship, thank you, Jesus. So with that, I was like, okay, well, I'm going to do this March 31st.
I'm sorry.
I did. And so someone said, Ava, check your retirement to see when you're going to actually be tenured. I said, I'm not going to be tenured until like 3 or 4 months later down in the year. Corey, I checked the date. The exact date that God gave me, March 31st, this was 2023, was the date I was tenured. That's how faith works. I'm sorry. That's how faith works.
Wow.
And so ever since he has undergirded me, provided me with the right team members, I would not do this without him. And then lastly, this is not about me. God dealt with me, daughter, with those that believe, let's make wealth normal. I
Mm.
said, what, God?
Lord, then you about to open up a whole another door. Go
He
ahead.
said,
go
let's
ahead.
make wealth normal. I'm going to say that one more time. Let's make wealth normal. It's not just for hey, I grew up Albany, Georgia, Holly Home Projects, star basketball player, Monroe High School. Your mom moved out the projects, moved into a house. I'm still on the south side. I didn't grow up like, oh wow, no, 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 no. I understand what it is to work really hard for it. So it's not just for me. It's for my community. Those who want to partake in this, we're gonna make wealth normal together. Yeah.
So this is so in line with what the series we've been in, and our previous guest, Dr. Tracy Knight, was on here.
So
Oh my goodness. So this is so in line, and even in the other ones that we've recorded, because for season 2, you all, because I want to share this, and because it's so important to me. That is part of the reason that God gave me the vision for where I'm at, like in terms of this podcast, in terms of Innovate Hub, is because Stephanie Johnson said on her podcast, she said, we're rural, but we're not regular.
I love that. I love Stephanie. Hi, Stephanie.
shout out A out in the South.
Yes.
And she said it, and it was so good because I want us to change our mindset
Yes.
that this can happen no matter where you are, number one. And number two, you're actually glorifying God when you do.
Yeah.
Because when you stay in a place of limitation, that does not glorify God. When you stay in a place of limitation, not only do you limit your ability, but you also limit his ability to flow through you.
Yes.
And wealth is not about what I put in my bank account.
Yes.
Wealth is what can get through my hands to the next person,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Because I have skills, I have the
Mm.
ability, and the
Mhm.
Bible talks about, he says in Deuteronomy, I've given you power to
Yes.
get wealth.
Yes, he
But
did.
the power comes due when I put my ability and my skill into practice
Yes.
and I serve others.
Yes. Yes.
It's
Oh,
service. Go
right.
ahead.
I love that you said that. And so, yes, O'Neill's Consulting and Training Services, Wilson Touch Foundation, even my pageant, Miss Deborah, this is a ministry for me,
Yes.
you know. And I would tell entrepreneurs, whatever you do, please, your number one goal cannot be, hey, I want to get in business to make money. You're going to fail. I'm
Going to
not
fail.
speaking that on you.
Yeah.
I'm just being
It's
honest
going to
here
fail.
because you're
Yeah.
not serving people. People feel that. They know that.
Yes.
We go and we engage with clients that make us feel Grace Life Marketing. Listen, I know y'all got a lot of clients. I feel like I'm the only one. I'm gonna brag on your team, Sierra, and a few. I feel like I'm the only client.
Praise the Lord.
No, look, that's because you made me feel that way. So I'm going to continue engaging. I'm going to continue pouring. So for my entrepreneurs, please make sure you know your why. And even if you're not a believer, of course, we'll welcome you into that
Absolutely.
today. But most certainly, just be sure that your why is people centered. Yeah.
It's so good. And that's, oh, I don't know why I keep wanting to say it, Dr. Ava, but I keep saying it in my brain. I have to catch myself. I don't know if you're going to get your doctorate one day, but we'll see. Maybe in ministry. I don't know.
Yes, sir.
But one of the things that you said is so crucial. And so as we move forward, tell me
Yes.
what's next. What's next
Yes.
for your business, your foundation, all that you're doing? What's next for
Yes.
Miss Ava O'Neill Wilson?
I love the right. So first, of course, I am so excited. We're launching again CEO Success Summit.
Okay.
Excited about that. This is going to be the first Saturday in February. Yes, this is your invite now. I'll get on your calendar.
Come
How
on,
about that?
y'all. Y'all got that?
So, but with that being said, that's next.
Okay.
We want to start 2026 again, providing our CEOs with certain components we are certain they need for success. Then we'll continue starting in March with the workforce development program. Stay tuned, they'll be able to register. And again, each of these are sponsored,
Mhm.
so at no cost. And of course, we'll continue providing a good, strong accounting services to not only small businesses, we started engaging with larger municipalities, with governments, other entities, and more. Yes.
Now, I don't know if you want to dive into this. Now, you
Okay.
got this new project. Now, it's
Yes.
up to you.
Okay.
If you want to, do you want to?
I do.
Okay,
I
y'all.
do.
I'm so excited for her. So go ahead.
Thank
Go ahead,
you.
Miss Ava.
So, I've been doing classes since 2018. I started Micro Business Center building. I've also partnered with Albany State University to have classes. So we were so blessed with the opportunity, and it was truly an opportunity. I did not ask for it. Maybe God said, okay, it's time now to have our own classroom space. So I'm so excited. We're at 2334 Lake Park Drive. And the name of this classroom space, again, inspired by the Holy Spirit, is called the Hope Center. Yeah. Yes, it brings hope, but it's also a dedication to my spiritual mother who is well. Yes.
Yeah. I didn't
Yes,
catch
yes,
that.
who is doing well. To God be the glory. But for everything that she poured into me, your audience may or may not know, she had a major stroke
Okay.
in 2016 that she was not able to continue in ministry. But thank you, Lord, she's here with us of sound mind. And I think about all the deposits she's poured into me, right? And those that are continued to be poured into me by my bishop, Victor Powell, my husband, Pastor Wilson. And I was in prayer, in service, by the way. Bishop was just preaching. I was like, oh my God, I saw the Hope Center. I was like, oh gosh, so this is a way I can honor for all the training, all the, golden nuggets, I would call them. So the name of our new training center is called the Hope Center. And yes, those classes will be held there in 2026.
I'm so excited for her, y'all.
Thank
This has
you.
been like I think the thing is for me is I love seeing God's people prosper, especially in the thing that they're gifted to do. And so when she had sent me this video of, I was like, yeah, and it's God. That's God. And
Yeah.
and what we're working on in addition to that is bettering our ecosystem in
Yes.
Southwest Georgia, right? And so we're looking to be partnering with her and a few others on doing networking events at the
Yes.
Hope Center
Yes.
in 2026 in
Yes.
different locations as well. And these are opportunities, if you're in the area, to get engaged in the
Yes.
ecosystem, to meet Miss Ava, to
Yeah.
get connected with all the other ecosystem partners in
Yes.
Albany, Georgia, and surrounding counties, because we want this to make we want Albany and Southwest Georgia to be strong in its
Yes.
entrepreneur support.
Yes.
And there are too many resources
Yes.
out here and connections that can take and make wealth normal.
Yes. I love that.
So,
Yeah.
is there any last words, anything encouraging that you want to share with the audience?
You can do it. I know you've had many no's. Even your circumstances may not have yielded to support your dreams. You can do it. You have the right support with you. And I'm so excited. Thank you, Corey, for just this platform to uplift. God's presence is here. We can feel it. And I pray it transcends to the viewers. Um, Continue doing the work that you're doing. You're such a blessing. You're such a light, even to the street and to this area. You're going to continue to grow because your heart's in the right place. You're growing your team and you're growing people. Thank you.
Sorry, Mr. Amik. I was about to start crying for a second there. Because the work that we do is not easy.
Okay.
And seeing how Miss Ava has been doing this for 24 years is phenomenal. And I hope that this episode brought value. Now, here's the thing about Miss Ava. This was a tidbit. This was just a teaser for you. So I want you to show up at the CEO Summit February
Yes.
1st.
6.
Six.
Actually, let me give
Sorry.
you that exact date. Thank goodness we have phones with calendars. That date is February the 7th.
February the 7th at
Yes.
the Hope Center.
It's going to be at the Hope Center
At the Hope Center
starting at 10 a.m.
at 10 a.m.
Yes.
So I want you to make sure, because here's the thing: let me say this about Miss Ava's events: they sell out and sell out very fast. Now, even though they're free, people book them very quickly.
Yes.
So make sure that you're staying engaged with her social media, with her email listing.
Yes.
So that you can make sure you book, and don't wait. Don't say I'm gonna do this later. Go ahead and book now, because every time I go to the event, they're already booked out very quickly. And so that's a blessing. So thank you, Miss Ava,
Yes.
for all you do for Southwest Georgia. You are a blessing. You talk about me, but you've been doing this longer than me. And 24 years of being a blessing to this community on so many different levels, from entrepreneurs to young girls, and so many different aspects. So thank you for joining on this episode of Live the Grace Life. Make sure you like, subscribe this episode, and share it with someone that can benefit from the value added. Thank you so much for joining us for this episode of Live the Grace Life.